I'll probably just.
So then, just because of almost space.
Yeah.
Do you want, if I have a piece of paper, do you want me then to wipe it down or what?
If you put a piece of paper on it,
Okay.
you barely brush it in.
Okay.
Super bowl washing it up, and I'm not going to totally do it.
Okay,
I think
that's
there's
fine.
a certain amount of space in the
That's fine. I just wanted to check.
But if you like full on like cough in your hand and I see it.
Yes, understood. If I, trying to chew on the mic or I sneeze.
Something you could
Welcome. I'm Dr. Shannon Kobes-Novotnyak, Director of the University Honors Program at Idaho State University, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to ISU and the Honors family. The placement of the mace at the front of the stage signifies these proceedings have official sanction. As an ancient symbol of authority, the mace reminds us that Idaho State University is a custodian of higher learning and of the power ISU bestows upon those who come here to learn. We're here today to celebrate the beginning of your Bengal journey with this convocation. In the same way that commencement, which seems far away now, but will be here sooner than you ever believe, celebrates your completion of your degree and the transition to the rest of your life, Convocation recognizes the beginning of this journey in higher education. We are fortunate to have several wonderful representatives of Idaho State and the Honors Program here to welcome you to the Bengal family today. Our own President Kevin Satterley, Vice President Dr. Cynthia Hill, current honors student Nicole Milford, and faculty member Dr. Samuel Peer will all be addressing you today to share their insights, guidance, and vision for the future. We're also joined on stage by Lori Tapanilla, Linda Henson-Jackson, and Dawn Brooks, all critical members of our honors team here to support you. President Kevin Satterley, a lifelong Idahoan, became the 13th president of ISU in 2018. He has served Idaho's higher education system for over 20 years and has a passion for watching students transform their lives through their educational experiences. His favorite day of work is always the first day of the new school year. President Satterley is a graduate of both Boise State University and the University of Idaho. It only makes sense that we managed to finally snag him here. He has served as a Deputy Attorney General in the Idaho Attorney General's Office, Chief Operating Officer for Boise State University, and Chief Legal Officer to the Idaho State Board of Education. He is here today to formally welcome you to ISU. Please welcome President Kevin Satterley.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to our newest Bengals. Welcome, in particular, to the Honors Convocation. I am so happy to welcome you here today as part of the Bengal family, and I'm so excited that you are here at Idaho State University, where we are the only honors degree granting institution in the state of Idaho. The Idaho State University Honors Program is a research and civic engagement focused program that provides a transformative environment for our students. Through it, we promote intellectual curiosity, academic attainment, and in what might be the most impactful piece, we foster the development of social consciousness. Throughout your education at Idaho State, you will learn how to integrate knowledge to express well-constructed and insightful thought. Use methodology and theoretical framework to conduct research, and then learn how to use that to address real-world problems and, importantly, find ethical solution for those problems. Because as honors students, you have a duty. You have a duty to use the knowledge you gain here to make our society better through civic engagement. As you progress through your education here at Idaho State, you'll be armed with the skills to leave this institution, to go out and make your community better than it is now, to make our entire society better than it is now. As some experts put it, they say, quote, "The pursuit of knowledge and discovery has always been an intrinsic human characteristic, but when new knowledge is curated and put into the right hands, it has the power to bring about high-value change to our society." When I look out over this group today, these are the right hands in which to put that knowledge to move our society forward. That's why you're here. Because This, in fact, is the practice of democracy on an everyday basis. You see, democracy isn't about going to the voting booth once or twice a year. Real democracy is the democracy you practice every day. It's about what you do in your community, how you take responsibility for your community, and using your skills and your knowledge, whatever those skills are, whatever that knowledge is, it's using that skill and knowledge to make your community better. The concept of civic engagement, one of the foundations upon which the honors program is built, the concept of civic engagement, of social consciousness, and addressing the problems that plague our society, that is the true expression of democracy. That is what it means to live in a democracy, that we take responsibility for our own communities and making them better. Now, I wholeheartedly believe in 10 fundamental rules of leadership, or tenets of leadership, that when implemented properly, those can change the world. And I want to talk about 2 of those with you today, briefly. First, leaders have an unshakable belief that things can get better. And second, leaders help provide an alternate vision for a brighter tomorrow. Your role as honor students, and then later, when you enter your career after college, is to be a leader. That comes with the responsibility of being an honors college student, is to go out in society and be a leader. And with that comes those basic principles that you have to always believe you can make things better. That you, in fact, through civic engagement, can change our world. The knowledge and experience you gain through your education here at Idaho State University will equip you with the necessary tools to create that alternate vision for a brighter tomorrow. And you can help implement that vision through your practice of everyday democracy. For all of you here today, I charge you with that. I charge you with that responsibility. In fact, I charge you to live that responsibility. That's what's coming with your honors program education. So to everyone here today, congratulations on your acceptance into this program, because that's what this program means. So good luck to all of you in your career. You're going to do fantastic, and thank you for becoming part of the Bengal family.
Thank you so much, President Satterley. Next, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Cynthia Hill, Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs. Cynthia Hill is a professor of economics and Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs at Idaho State University. Her academic research is primarily focused on economic education and the advancement of economic pedagogy. She is the co-author of 2 economics textbooks for introductory level students. Over the past decade, Professor Hill has undertaken many administrative roles which focus on student success and educational advancement. Of particular note, Dr. Hill was ISU's first director of the University Honors Program. I'm following in some very big shoes to fill. Professor Hill has won numerous awards for teaching public service over her 23-year tenure at ISU, including the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching Idaho Professor of the Year, 2-time Master Teacher, 5-time Most Influential Professor, Distinguished Public Servant, and the Southeast Idaho Business and Achievement Award for Education. She's clearly a slacker. You can see why she is our founder of the honors program at Idaho State University. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Dr. Cynthia Hill.
Good morning. Thank you to Dr. Kobes-Novotniak for those kind words of introduction. And thank you to President Satterlee for being such an extraordinary visionary leader in a time when we've truly needed him most. It's my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome you here today. I'm fortunate, truly blessed actually, to have been associated with Idaho State University, as Shannon said, for the past 23 years, and the Idaho State University Honors Program since its creation, as Dr. Satterlee said, as President Satterlee said, as the first and only honors degree granting program in the state of Idaho. So let me start by stating the obvious. We are living in unprecedented times. And what a time it is. Who would have thought that your first days of college would begin in the midst of a global pandemic? Who would have thought that masks, hand sanitizer, social distancing, and contact tracing would have become such common occurrence in our English lexicon? You are coming of age and beginning your formative college years in a world turned upside down by both a pandemic and by one of the most broad and sustained waves of protests for social justice in decades. Both of these ongoing challenges are changing the landscape of our society and confronting the status quo. As uncertain as these times may be, this moment in history comes with the opportunity for us to rethink it all, to rewrite what is possible. You are a unique generation, perhaps, as some would say, even a chosen generation. Clearly, you're the first generation to have lived with technology on a modern scale, and you've lived with more information in the palm of your hand than all of the previous generations before you put together. You are connected to people across the world. But more than that, according to the Pew Center, you are more broad-minded and tolerant than all of the generations that came before you. You will soon be the most well-educated generation yet, and you want change. You know, it was about 15, 16 years ago when I was part of a group of ISU faculty members who wanted to bring about change too. We had extraordinary, bright, and high-achieving students at ISU, and we wanted to provide those students with more. We wanted to create a student-centered program aligned with all of the colleges across campus and filled with hundreds upon hundreds of opportunities. A program that would stretch student thought, offer a challenging and imaginative curriculum, encourage engagement and leadership beyond the classroom, and create a community designed for academic, social, and cultural development. We wanted to build a program focused on research for undergraduates and civic engagement. A program that in the end would provide, as President Satterlee said, a transformative environment, promoting intellectual curiosity, academic attainment, and the expansion of social consciousness. Well, today, I welcome you into that program. This program, the University Honors Program that we built for you in a time when we too wanted change. I welcome you today, but as President Satterlee charged you, I would also like to challenge you today. Challenge you to fully take advantage of not only what the honors program has to offer you, but what all of ISU, has built for you. While at ISU, you'll be introduced to faculty members who will inspire you. Ideas that will move you, and peers that will truly challenge you. You will have the opportunity to think deeply about what it is that really matters to you, who you are at your inner core, and what contributions you want to make to our society. I challenge you to take the time to find out what you are willing to stand for, vote for, fight for, and live for. I challenge you to think deeply and take this time in your life to discover you. There's an economic theory that I believe is particularly appropriate for our conversation today. It's known in economics as the greater fool theory. In general, the greater fool theory tells us that there's always someone, an even greater fool, who believes that they can accomplish what has never been accomplished before. Someone who believes that they can succeed where others have failed. The greater fool has just the right levels of confidence and self-delusion to do what no one else thinks can be done. I'd like to give you some examples of greater fools, although you probably feel as though you've got this. You know plenty of greater fools. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and John Adams were greater fools. Sojourner Truth, Susan B. Anthony, and Elizabeth Cady Stanton were greater fools. Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta are greater fools. Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr., greater fools. Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, both greater fools. Of course, there are thousands, certainly hundreds of thousands of additional examples of greater fools, accomplishing the impossible and making our world a better place because they knew they could. We need more greater fools to rewrite what is possible. So once again, I challenge you to be brave. Be you. Find your voice and find your passion. And then be heard. Be courageous. Be confident. Perhaps even a little self-delusional. Be the greater fool and rewrite what is possible. It's now my pleasure to introduce an amazing honors student, and human being for that matter, Nicole Milford. Nicole is currently in her final semester as an undergraduate within the University Honors Program here at ISU. She'll be graduating in December with an honors distinction and 2 bachelor's degrees, a Bachelor of Business Administration in Management and a Bachelor of Science in Healthcare Administration. However, Nicole won't be leaving us right away. She plans to continue her education here at ISU, working toward a Master of Business Administration and a Master of Healthcare Administration beginning in January of 2021. Please help me welcome Nicole Milford.
Thank you, Dr. Hill, for the warm introduction. Good morning, everybody, and hello, first-year students. First, I'd like to say congratulations. Welcome to the Bengal family, and more specifically, the Honors family. My name is Nicole Milford, and I'm a senior here at Idaho State. I'm on track to graduate in December with 2 bachelor's degrees, one in business management and one in healthcare administration. Honestly, it's a bit hard to believe that I'm nearly at the end of my undergraduate journey. It feels like just yesterday I was sitting where you are now, with no mask on that time, and moving into my college dorm, and now I'm nearly at the end. But I'll be the first to say my college experience wasn't always smooth sailing, especially last semester when I had to overcome challenges that I nor anyone else had control over due to COVID-19. I had to adapt to virtual learning, online databases, and become a Zoom expert in what felt like a day, all the while being afraid of what havoc COVID-19 would bring into my world. Would my parents be safe? My friends? My dog? It was a struggle, to say the least. When ISU dismissed students to protect us from the pandemic, I felt a roller coaster of emotions. Ecstatic because we had an extra long spring break, sad because it would be a long time before I had an Einstein's bagel again. If you don't know what those are, you will soon. And also a bit bitter because I never got to say goodbye to my friends, honors family, or professors who I'd grown so close to over the course of the semester. I'm sure you all felt the effects as graduating seniors too. Maybe you never got a senior prom or a proper graduation, no signing yearbooks, or a luxurious Hawaiian vacation. But despite the crazy roller coaster we've all been on this year, we're still here, chasing our dreams, building connections, and fulfilling our own unique purpose, or as I like to call it, our why. It's the reason why you work so hard. It's your passion, your light at the end of the tunnel. If any of you are fans of Charles Dickens, there's a famous quote of his that I feel summed up my roller coaster of a collegiate experience well. It goes like this: "It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was a spring of hope." This quote is full of paradoxes, just as your experience here will be. You're going to meet some great people and some not so great people. You're going to love some classes and you're not going to love others. You're going to fail and you're going to succeed. Probably more the latter because you're honor students, but you get what I mean. But right now, while I have you all here, I want you guys to all close your eyes. Close your eyes. Take a moment and focus on why you're sitting in that very seat, why you chose this honors family. Whether you want to be a master of closing business deals, delivering babies, or decoding the human genome, be ready to revisit your why. Hold on to it when things get tough, and be ready to share it with your honors family. Everyone in attendance is here to help you achieve your academic and professional goals, whatever they may be. So whether you're having the best of times this fall, the worst of times, or somewhere in between, I challenge you to remember this day. Remember that your experience here is a process, a roller coaster, if you will. It's difficult, rewarding, and beautiful all at once. My advice to you is to savor each and every moment, the ups and the downs. Get on the roller coaster, put your hands up, and just enjoy the incredibly quick ride. Because in 4 short years from now, one of you will be standing where I am, inviting the incoming cohort of honors to jump on board and hold on to their why, just as I am now. To each of you, the warmest of welcomes. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Samuel Peer, an assistant professor of clinical psychology at Idaho State University. His research focuses on reducing child mental health disparities via the refinement, dissemination, and implementation of evidence-based interventions, particularly parent-child interaction therapy, and its transdiagnostic applications and developmental adaptations, trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, and related implementation models, novel measure validation, and treatment mechanisms. Everyone, Dr. Samuel Peer.
Begin with the end in mind. 2 millennia and 500 years ago, Solon of Athens first ascribed those words. His time, in many ways, was not very dissimilar to our own. Athens was not yet the great democracy that would inspire so many other generations and civilizations. Instead, it was one that was fraught with radical polarization, conflict, both within families and across in communities. There were economic disparities. There was economic uncertainties. There were moral injustices. And there was the question of, what do we do with it? Because Solon was someone who had shown wisdom, and more importantly, someone who had shown that he would be honorable, Athens as a city made him its ruler and charged him to essentially fix the mess. When he was asked, Solon, where do you begin? Where do you start? Do you start small? Do you start big? Do you start over here or over in this sector? He said famously, begin with the end in mind. Now, his time can be like ours, and yet, as we all know, it is very different. It is very distinct. First, I don't think Solon stood in line very much for hand sanitizer or had to fight over it. Secondly, we look to the past, not so that we can relive it, but so that we, as almost Isaac Newton said, can climb upon the shoulders of the giants of the past to see farther, to do the things that are impossible, to be the great fools. So what does it mean to begin with the end in mind? I'd like to share a story that for me is of own personal history, a role model. Think about yourself. You've come here and this is a great beginning, but this is not the beginning of your life. Your life has been filled with triumphs and tragedies, with overcoming challenges, with inspiring dreams that have motivated you to come and to join this great community. You have likely had giants in your past whose shoulders that have helped to lift you up. One for me was a woman named Jess. Jess was an incredible woman in every sense. She was an honorable woman because honor ultimately is something that you are awarded based upon what you give, not what you gain. One of the things that always impressed me about Jess was that she is a marathon runner. I am not at all. But she would run them constantly. She qualified for the Boston Marathon. She did it when she was in her 50s. And so one day I asked her, I said, how do you do that? What is your secret? Not that I wouldn't necessarily want to run your marathon, but that there are marathons in my own life, just as in your own lives that you are running. And I'll never forget what she said to me. She said, on the night before the race, when all is quiet and before the fur and the chaos of the race has truly begun, I go out to where the finish line will be. And I stand there at that point, and I close my eyes, and I imagine what it will feel like to reach the end. the relief, the gratitude, the triumph. And I do that because the first person who ran a mile died. Because it is a hard thing. Because it is filled with many miles. And some of those miles are very hard. They're the miles that make you want to quit, to give up. So at that time, and in those times, I reflect back to that feeling, that image, and that can carry me through. You, as you are beginning this journey, will encounter new challenges. Some of them will be very familiar to you. Some of them will be unprecedented. But as you encounter them, whether it is studying there for your bout of finals, whether it's fighting off imposter syndrome, whether it is wondering and worrying about the naysayers as you say that I'm going to be a great fool. Pause there, almost as Nicole did, and tell you, why? Why are you here? But also imagine in that moment, how will you feel in years hence from now when you have graduated, when you are moving your tassel? Now, some of you may say, this is just the beginning then. And I would say you're right. So think further, think beyond. What will it feel like? What will it mean to you? And what will it mean to the world when you have reached beyond that? Whether it's a master's program, a doctoral program, a career that you give back to the world, where you change it. Will you feel pride? Will you feel triumph, gratitude, relief? But think about that. Cling to it. Another story of my own is one where I was a teen and we were working as young pre-adolescents and we were trying to make money. I lived in a place where it rarely snowed, unlike here, but we did have this massive blizzard. And so being young entrepreneurs, we decided to go out as neighborhood friends and do a bunch of shoveling. It was hard work. It was cold. And there were lots of times where you're saying, is it going to be worth it? And there was one time where a good friend of mine said, you know what? Normally what happens when you do shoveling of snow is you orient to your object, to your end, and then you lean down and you shovel and you move the snow away. And he said, you know what? We can really cut out a lot of time if we just stop doing that. We'll just keep our eyes focused on just the feet right in front of us. And he was right. We were so much faster. Until we came to the end of the road and we realized that we had done a marvelous job of shoveling the person's lawn. Beautiful green grass. Thus, we have to begin with the end in mind. But the question is, what is the end? What is the end of an honors program? What is the end of a degree? Because if we spend our whole time even solely focused upon that end, we could feel it being a hollow victory. Another one of my heroes had a picture of Mount Everest in his office. And as we were talking, he was teaching me in my residency, I commented on the beautiful nature of the picture. And he said, yeah, that's to remind me to be humble. And initially I thought, he was speaking of the fact that here's this great, the tallest point on earth. And he said, no, it's to remind me of when I climbed it. Now that was, of course, a start. You don't necessarily meet that many people that have climbed Everest. And at that point in time, he was one of the less than 100 that had ever succeeded. But he shared with me that he had begun his life climbing many mountains. He loved it. For him, it started off as an exhilarating thrill of challenging himself, of growing, of becoming more. But somewhere along the line, it had become, as soon as he would finish one mountain, traveling all over the world, Mount Kilimanjaro, he would immediately think, even as he was walking up to the very precipice, okay, what's the next one that I'm going to go to? What's the next summit that I need to reach? right, Denali, K2, all the way up to Everest, till as he was standing in line to reach that very summit, he realized that he had nowhere else to go, that he had been chasing after just the next thing, the biggest thing. And so as you think of the end, I want to challenge you to think of the end is not just a degree. It is not just graduation from the honors program. It is you. It is who you become, and in becoming, how you change the world. As you do that, think then, as you start today, tomorrow, because as Mary Shelley said, every day, today is a beginning. Think about what matters most to you. When the end is reached of your life and people are commenting upon who you are, what do you want them to say about you? I was kind. You were intelligent. You were creative. You were passionate. You were driven. Whatever those things are, those values that you most cherish, every day, every beginning, ask yourself, what would an honorable person do? What would an intelligent, driven, compassionate, trustworthy person choose here in this path? Because honor ultimately is a rhetoric. It is a choice of actions that one takes. Because just as a song reaches its end, the last note in the melody, it has reached its end, but the end note is not the goal. It is the entire movement and how it moves you and what it moves you to do. And so I say unto you, begin. Begin with boldness. Begin with the magic of new beginnings. Begin with the wonder of a child who encounters a new thing. Think to the first time that you saw a butterfly, a rainbow. Think about a child who goes in and sees the massive bones of a dinosaur. That wonder is here and can be here in every decision, every interaction. And as we have that, I challenge you to begin with the end in mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peer. Please join me in another round of acknowledgement for all of our speakers today. I'd also like to take a moment for us to acknowledge all of those giants in your own lives who've helped you get here, whose shoulders you're standing on. Right now, whether they're in the room, whether they're dialed in online, whether they have no idea this event is going on. You have so many people who've helped you to get to this big jumping off point. Family, friends, teachers, people that you never really met but inspired you through their works. So let's also, I'm going to ask the family members and guests who are here today to please rise for a moment so we can recognize those of you who are present. Family, please rise so we can acknowledge you. As we wrap up this portion of the convocation, before we move on to the pinning ceremony, I'd like to offer just a couple more thoughts. James Baldwin, in his book, Nobody Knows My Name, wrote the following, which I think resonates just as much in our current circumstances as it did when it was written. This collision between one's image of oneself and what one actually is always very painful, and there are two things you can do about it. You can meet the collision head on and try to become who you really are, or you can retreat and try to remain what you thought you were, which is a fantasy in which you will certainly perish. Mr. Baldwin is writing about the United States of America and our continuing journey to live up to our own lofty ideals, to be able to become who we aspire to be. But it also really describes our own individual journeys and our growth. Our country and communities are in a liminal space right now, transitioning from what they were before into a new version of themselves. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get a little anxiety about the change. And I sometimes have to remind myself that anxiety is misplaced excitement. It is an opportunity. It is an opportunity for me to be able to go out and change things and to make my world and myself better. You are standing on the threshold of higher education. You're also in this liminal space as an individual, moving into a whole new space as thinkers, leaders, and creators. That liminal space can be uncomfortable. We don't know what's coming next or who we're going to be as we step through across that threshold and come out the other side. I promise you, though, the very best things must pass through this liminality. This in-betweenness is a gift, a time where we can throw open the doors to many possibilities, futures that we couldn't even see before. That it's through those bad moments that we get that opportunity to envision a new end, to start at the end and rebuild an entirely new path to get there. To get on that roller coaster and see where it's going to end up, just how tangled and messy our hair can get in the process, and just scream our heads off in good fun as we're changing things. So take this time to throw open the doors to as many of the possibilities ahead of you as possible. Look at these different futures, these options for yourself, for your community. And our challenge individually and collectively is to pick the best doors. And that sometimes means that we're going to have to build these doors ourselves. The more time I spend in the honors program at ISU, the more confident I am that I could not find a better group of people anywhere to join me in building new doors. The honors students that I've had the privilege of working with amaze and inspire me with their hard work, perseverance, creativity, intelligence, and kindness. You guys have the imagination, the ingenuity, and the resourcefulness to build these new doors. And it's my privilege as the honors director to be somebody who can stand next to you and hand you lumber or a hammer or go chase down some extra nails to help you as you do that. Over the coming years, you're going to laugh until you cry. You're going to study until you fall asleep on your textbook and hope that you're going to learn through osmosis with your face pressed against it in the night. You're going to learn more than you could ever anticipate. You're going to make some of the best friends you will ever have. You're going to change the world, and I couldn't be more proud of you. I'm so proud to welcome you to the honors family and to the Bengal family here at ISU. Please join me in your first collective roar. You ready? Bengals, roar! Bring it, come on. Roar, yeah! It'll grow on you. I promise. I promise. All right, with that, I'd like to begin our pinning ceremony. All of you as students should have received a pin as you checked in. Please get that handy. Don't put it on quite yet. So I'm very excited to officially induct each one of you into the 2020 cohort of the honors program at Idaho State University. Each first-year honors student resides in an honors house, which is named in keeping with our Bengal pride. All of them are a reference to our Bengals. The order in which you will be personally recognized is based on your honors house. So new honors students, when you see your name appear on the screen, I'm going to ask you to please stand, put your pin several inches below your right collar, and then return to your seat. First, we have the House of Stripes. The members of House of Stripes are known as wonderfully self-confident and determined. They possess great integrity and are natural leaders who learn to develop humility and compassion to enhance the life experience of others around them. The majority of members of this House act on that innate desire to improve quality of life for others by pursuing majors that will prepare them to work in the health professions. The mentors in House of Stripes are Jacob Deal, Beta Garcia Arste, Caleb Hanula, and Haley Ledbetter. Incoming students, House of Stripes. Again, please rise and put on your pin as I call your name. Joshua Bingham. Asa Flowers. Tegan Foster. Ivy Hansen. Jared Harrison. Madison Humboldt. Natalie Hughes. Michael Lemos. Jack Maharis. Corbin Meacham. Caitlin Neff. Alexandra Sousley. Olivia Swainston. Ben Thomas. Cody Walker. He hid from us with that picture. We're going to get you. Emma Watts. Benjamin Whipple. Aubrey Wilson. Haley Wilson. And Nicola Wright. House of Stripes, congratulations. The House of Night. The members of this house are remarkable for their creativity and charisma. These are the honor students pursuing fields of study and professions that require tremendous interpersonal leadership skills and creativity. Many of this house are earning majors in the College of Business, such as finance, management, health information, and economics. Others are pursuing majors in music, theater, and communication, which is included in the College of Arts and Letters. One brave soul in this group is planning on being a high school teacher. The mentors in House of Night are Jess Chalette, Abby Edinger, Drake Hightoff, and Isabel Jensen. Incoming students, House of Night: Taylor Adams, Jules Belia, Aubrey Bauer, Jessa Briggs, Alyssa Kress, Nina Edgel, Tori Elridge, Symphony Garcia. Samantha Gibson. Madison Hernandez. Carly Hurst. Sorry, Carly Hurst. Carson Jacobson. Catherine Jensen. Taylor Kilpack. Anna Kerr. Kaylin Kunimoto. Brianne Mansfield. Shayla Manuel. Sydney Overton. Lydia Ring. Andrew Sant. Camden Schaefer. Skylar Sethman. Madison Smith. And Madeline Zink. Congratulations, House of Knight. Welcome. Next is the House of Benny. Members of this house are admired for their animated, active, energetic personalities mixed with keen scientific minds. The majority of the members of this house are pursuing majors in the College of Science and Engineering, such as biology and geology. Geology right here. Several members have the career goal of working in the medical laboratories. The mentors of House of Benny are Trinity Hammond, Jillian Long, Colton Turner, and Katie Sims. New members of the House of Benny: Bailey Barnes, Kennedy Coles, Abigail Davis, Jacqueline Dunn, Hannah Ellis, Alyssa Farnes, Autumn Geary, Sheridan Hatch, Riley Hull, Carly Huynh, Elizabeth, gotta skip there, sorry. Did I miss one? Bonus list. Jayla Kaufman, Emily Kenke, Veronica Koster. Maya Krieger. Jaden Nestler. Katie Park. Emma Sackerman. And Aaliyah Tovar. Welcome, House of Benny. Our fourth and final house is House Panthera. The members of this house help to keep us grounded with their calm, analytical, and hardworking natures. They possess the characteristics necessary to succeed in their fields of study that focus on the application of mathematical and scientific principles to identify the health or rehabilitative needs of patients or design technologies to address those needs. Many of the members of this house are pursuing majors in health science. Several will, through their observant, hard work, help us to better understand the human condition as they seek to be psychologists. Others, working in fields such as computer science and engineering, will help to develop the technologies and software to enhance accuracy and effectiveness in a variety of fields. Mentors in House Panthera are Mackenzie Kohler, Caden Lee, Alec Lepisto, Julie Meredith, and Hannah Montrose. Incoming students to House Panthera: Michael Enefuose, Stephanie Arteaga, Beckett Bodell, Ronan Brownfield, Sierra Christensen, Haley Kaufman, Bronwyn Ellis, Garrett Force, Catherine Graffel, Connor Haynes, Marley Harrison, Hannah Huffman. Sorry for the fast finger there, Hannah. Anna Jurek. Braylon Crawshaw. Oh. Savannah Johnson. There's Braylon. Sorry, Savannah. Your name got switched in the order there. Braylon Crawshaw. Kayla Yanes. Eric Mayer. Wesley Maxwell Malvini. Miriam Nelson. Aiden Niblett. Ademola Popula. Camille Steed. Colby Stevens. Tara Stout. Alyssa Taylor. And Noelle Waybright. Please join me in welcoming the 2020 cohort of the University Honors Program. I'm so excited to get to meet each and every one of you and get to know you better, to be able to help you on your journeys. This concludes this year's Honors Convocation. Thank you so much for those of you who were able to join us in person and online. I'm going to ask that you remain seated until your guide will be the same honors mentor that brought you in, instructs your row to stand, and then proceed to leave the concert hall. This is being done again to help maintain safety and distancing. We certainly don't want anybody catching anything here other than positivity and good times. We want you inspired, no coughing, none. So please, as you are being led out, continue to maintain 6 foot physical distancing between your group and the next. And thank you so much for being here today. Welcome, Bengals.